There we go. No
No,
more
just tell
live.
me. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm Pat.
Hey, Patrick. I'm Jeffrey. What's going on today, man?
I've been playing Skylines a lot.
All right. So we're gonna do this. All right. So talk to me about it.
It's hard. The game is difficult.
What part about this are you finding difficult? What is the issue?
There are so
Or
many things
issues.
going on that so you'll have growth and it'll stall out and you'll be like, what the fuck? And you'll be looking around like crazy to try and figure out what's going on. And then you realize it's like, oh wait, I'm one park shy, and so my city just shut down. So,
One park shy.
well, yeah, because the buildings haven't leveled up at all. So,
Oh, I
you
see.
know,
I see.
yeah. And then as you get bigger, your problems get huge. I think there's something busted with garbage, man. So eventually you get to the point in time where your city just manufactures garbage, like in that exponential rate. So I don't know, and you can't fix it with like any amount of recycling centers or anything. So
Well, you're burning the shit.
I haven't done that. All right, so I'm probably gonna have to do that next. But even then, so if you get something that processes garbage at a certain rate, the amount at which you produce should go down by that rate. That does not work in the game, and I don't know why that is. So I think there's something buggy in there. So it's that.
Well, I can tell you what's buggy about it.
What is it?
That's imported trash, dog.
No, I don't import trash. So, yeah, no. I mean, I have in the past, but you can shut that shit off. So, no. I mean, so I made a city that was insanely wealthy, but it had like less than 5,000 people in it because all it was a gigantic Wyoming-esque wind farm.
I'm gonna tell you, I don't.
That you
I
can export a shitload of money
I don't make a lot of money off of that.
off the wind farm.
I make a lot of money off of anything.
Well, okay, so
The economy system is wacky in this game.
I think
As a
I've
matter
got-
of fact, I think some of it is fucking voodoo.
some of it might be busted, yeah. So, but no, wind farms, yeah. I mean, you put down a lot of them. So, but you can make money exporting using just wind farms. So, because they don't have any maintenance cost. So,
Oh, okay.
you can make a lot of money doing that.
okay.
But it's a really
That's
dumb
interesting, yeah.
city. It's a dumb city because it's literally like, I mean, you're buying entire squares and putting windmills as close together as you can fit them. So,
If you're going to give me an estimation, how many wind farms are there, or how many windmills are there?
and up to the point in time where it's making my machine chug, so I stopped doing that.
Well, no,
So, yeah.
no. If you were going to guess at give me a number on how many windmills you'd put
On
down.
a single tile,
Yeah,
probably about 70. So, yeah,
that's your trick.
a lot. Yeah. So you can do it that way. No. So the economy, I think I've got the economy somewhat figured out. You got to pay attention to your industry. So if you build too much industry, they all suck because they all only have like 5 guys working for them. So you got to make sure that the buildings that you have are fully staffed up. And so even though the little demand bar will be screaming at you for yellow stuff,
Yeah.
don't give it to them.
Well, okay, so it's not just that. To me, there seems to be something way the fuck off about production balance.
So I've only done a little bit with that, but again, what I did discover was, so you have the generic industry, right?
Mhm.
So, but all of those, unlike the previous Sims games or Civ game or Skylines games, they all have inputs now. So
Yeah.
they want specific things. Now,
Yeah.
in Skylines 1, factories would do that, but those were the ploppable ones. Okay,
Yeah.
so that you got from the industry's DLC. In this one, everything's got an input. So there's a little graph that you unlock, maybe like the 3rd or 4th milestone.
Oh no! I've been playing around with that. It's just the problem I have with that is it doesn't seem to, like, you would think that would move the needle significantly more, but it doesn't.
No, not very much, because it just depends on how many industries you have. So, and what I did notice was like So just like in all the games, you want to level up your buildings.
Yeah.
Okay, you get an industry building leveled up to like a 4. It prints money. So, but it only has like one input or maybe two. Okay, and so as long as you have that input somewhere on the map, it'll remain profitable. So, but you got to get that building up to like a level 3 or a level 4 before it's actually going to turn any money for you.
So you're saying that the eye indicator is basically saying to level up your buildings?
I don't think so. I think it's still supposed to be a demand thing. Okay, but the way that I noticed it was that there's like if your buildings suck, if your buildings are a level 1 and 2, you don't get shit for tax revenue out of them.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. Okay, so let me bounce some of these things off you, and you tell me, how you've encountered this. So, yeah, okay, so I got you there. Are you finding that the game is just constantly, basically like your green bar is constant, like they can't get enough?
No, man, because I refuse to do like a ton of high density shit. So because that's when your problems start to multiply. So
Well, they don't typically want high density shit.
in my cities they do. They want a shitload of high density stuff, and I won't give it to them. So, but like the just like the suburbia housing, I'll build that for miles. So
Okay.
yeah, and then
Okay.
eventually you get to the point in time where people are like, that's too far from work, kind of thing, and they won't buy it.
Okay, hold on. So, do you not have a lot of farms and stuff, or no?
I have one farm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
all right, maybe that's the difference because like as far as like resource like drilling, it's insane, right? So I decided to basically, strip mine the entire land of everything.
See, that's what I was going to do next. So I'm curious how that worked out. So
It is constantly. I'm telling like so the unemployment is constantly at like negative 250, 300,
yeah,
and it is always begging for more green
people,
tile,
yeah.
more green tile.
yeah. I've tried to get my unemployment rate up. So, but the problem is that, and so here's how I figured out how to do it, and it's kind of artificial. Okay, so you build a lot of industry. People come in, they move in, you bulldoze half the industry, so half the town's out of a job now.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. No, it's fine.
So, and that's when you make sure that all the jobs available in town are filled, because that affects everything. So, like, I mean, I was getting this one message, just like people were bitching about healthcare. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys bitching about? So, I mean, I was sitting here clicking on my clinic. I was like, there's 8 goddamn doctors, and 2 of you have, boo-boos. What are you guys complaining about?
Yeah.
But then if you click on the building, its service level was like below like 60%. And I was like, well, what the fuck? So, but then what it is, it doesn't have enough employees. So it's not actually operating at its maximum efficiency.
Well, yeah, there's that too, but you can also fix that by districting.
Okay, so I haven't played with that too much yet. So yeah.
Okay, so if you basically like, so if you place any kind of building, whatever it may be, right?
Like a city service.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
School, whatever it may be, right? So if you place that, it becomes basically the open access to the entire city,
Right.
Right, which is subject to one of two things. Number one, proximity to areas that need it, right? And overall people, like you said, workers and stuff like that, right? So the problem is, if you, all right, so this is the nuts thing. So if you played the last game, of course, right, the problem is like, all right, well, I place a firehouse every 2 blocks or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The same thing, like parks everywhere, that kind of bullshit, right?
Yeah.
If you put too many clinics and don't district them, the whole clinic is still servicing an entire area, the whole city.
The whole city, yeah.
Right? So by those metrics, it's saying that we're understaffed. Right?
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But if you zone it in and say, because the thing is, like, this is what's wonky about it is, if you zone it in, then 2 is fine for that area.
See, okay, yeah, all right, that makes more sense then. Because I was having the same problem with schools too, man. I was like, people were like, oh, your education system is great. I was like, it sucks. There's 2 schools in this entire fucking town, and you guys are sending like 20 kids to them. So, yeah, and so I didn't play with the districts just quite yet.
No, that's the only thing that made sense of it. Like, because, I mean, you're still going to have some people where it's like, the way so the way this is working, and I kind of like followed in on some of these people, like following their tweeters, is it's this guy that has a problem.
Right, yeah, and he lives next to the power plant. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did discover that. I was like, follow this motherfucker. Where is he?
Because there were other things. It's like it sucks living next to an industrial area. I'm like, nobody lives next to an industrial area. Have you seen what this does to the
Right? Yeah.
for the next 50 fucking years? Like Chernobyl exploded. I'm like, God damn, man.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I had people complaining about my city being so noisy, and I was like, "What are you talking about, man? Traffic in this is green across the board. It's all nice and spread out. You live in nice, lazy cul-de-sac neighborhoods. What the fuck?" And it turns out there was a guy who was within the sound footprint of my water pump, and so it was just him.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Well, sir, you shouldn't have said nothing because now your house gets bulldozed."
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it's like I got a solution for this. You know.
Yeah, we're gonna dezone your property.
I mean, granted, I am still having problems with there's the issues. Something is up with this where it's like they're saying there's not enough customers. I'm like, dude, you're in a perfectly fine space. There's no.
Yeah, so I got rid of that problem too by bulldozing. So, if I started getting those, I would dezone some of my commercial and it'd go away. So,
I guess, man, it's weird. It's very antithetical of. Well, I wouldn't zone it unless it said the demand was there, but I guess that's the problem.
Yeah, the demand thingy is weird, man.
Fucking arbitrary.
Well, and it moves really fast. And so, like before, where it would take, several cycles, several game ticks, to actually change the RCI thing. This one, if you place just one square, it'll go down. And so if you zone like a fucking, half a square mile of shit, it goes way down. The thing that it doesn't have, which is weird, unlike the last one, it doesn't have the positive negative on it. So,
right.
Because that one you could always tell it was like, oh, okay, actually people are going to start moving out now. So, thank you. This one, it just goes flatline on you, and it's like, does that mean there's too much, or, is it just right? Yeah.
It's weird, yeah, because every now and then it'll pop up and say, it'll throw the purple bar all the way to the other end. You place like two things,
gone. Yeah.
Like, wow, guys,
Yeah, it's really sensitive. Education takes forever in this game.
You know what? I'm actually okay with that.
Okay.
The expedited. I'm gonna say this. All right. The problem with this game right now is, to me, like, there's as many steps forward as there is back, and I feel this thing is like 2 patches away from being where it's supposed to be.
It definitely needs some patches.
There are some things that I absolutely love. So, like, fucking around with roads is
so much fun.
is great. Just even if the best thing you can do for yourself is to just put your painter's hat on, click the snapping off, and just have fun. Right?
Oh yeah.
So there's that, and like I've said, there's a lot more of.
It did take me a while to learn how to use. There's a lot of snapping tools. So.
Tons, and auto grid tools and stuff like that. I'm like, you've made a lot of things like really convenient. This is good. There's, like I said, I think I said like before that there's a lot more of, you get what I'm trying to do. I don't have to fucking fool you.
Yeah.
Right. And it's easier to create circular things. It's easier to create road. And I'll say this, like, the actual roads themselves solve more problems by choosing the appropriate roads for the situation than having to fucking fool the system like you did before. Where you're like, all right, so based on me going out there into the wild, putting a tag on you, right, releasing you back into your natural habitat and following you, right? Because if you think about it, like, no fucking city planner is going to, like, bag and tag human beings and say, like, in order to in order to really determine what's going. No, they're going to look at the traffic.
Fucking ankle monitor.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so instead of having to do that, which was really how you solve the worst problems without resorting to
oh yeah
the pre-built, like, 16 donut intersection that you could just, download or whatever, and
Oh yeah.
it would process like 5,000 cars a minute
Right.
or whatever. I'm like, this is absurd. This is an engineering nightmare. But so choosing the right streets for the right things solves so many of the problems, right? God, there are so many things where it's like, oh, well, just make this a 3-laner.
Right.
I'm like, this is great.
Brilliant. Yeah.
This is great. There's less like traffic stupidity. I'm like, this is awesome.
They got that highway with the center lane too.
Genius.
That thing's it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, you've seen that in every rural town in America. So it's like thank you.
Yeah. And there's again, some of the things in there are just like a lot more intuitive. But then there's other parts where I'm like, why is there just no transparency in these weird equations you're doing? Because like, you went out there and you figured out, you're like, all right, so if I take an entire tile, put 70 wind farm or windmills on them, right, you can generate money. But that's the thing, is like, I feel like the game shouldn't put you in that corner to make you do something like that, right, to generate revenue. It's like, so if that ends up paying off like this, why is it so wacky with other parts of the economy? Why is it that like for example, okay, so I have been like tearing the earth apart, right?
Oh, at least all that shit's free, so that's great.
But that's the thing is, okay, so if I go out there and I basically have, as it says, like 600 extra tons of wood, right, and it's exporting, right, that should move the needle, right? Doing that with oil, doing that, and that's the thing is,
I haven't even messed with oil yet, so
that's the thing is, it's not just oil. It actually gets refined in the city,
into
right,
gas, right?
into product, right, and it's exporting product too, right?
Okay,
but when you look at the actual graphs, it's this much of your budget. It's
it's very small.
Like, this is ridiculous. I'm like,
can you set tax rates on each one of the commodities? I don't know.
Every single one.
Oh, see, that's a little bit more detailed than I was getting.
Every single one. You can set them on every single one, which is cool, because there is something to be done with that, right?
Yeah.
And you can mess with the service fees and the budgets and all that other stuff. But yeah, I'm like, you shouldn't have to game it like this.
The demand bar is
fucking crazy.
That's probably the number one thing that I think is fucked up. I mean, the economy, like, okay, so I didn't dot the map with extraction sites. Okay, so because I didn't have enough labor, and so they wouldn't grow, And so I was like, all right, so let me build one rock quarry. So there's a big rock quarry.
Sure.
Okay, cool. And then I would click on my buildings. It's like, all right, these guys need rocks. All right. And then I would click on them and they would level up because they were profitable now. And I was like, cool. So let me go in and, okay, this guy near here needs oil. I don't build anything with oil. So you've been dezoned and bulldozed.
Okay. All right.
So, but then I was just adding them kind of one at a time. And so it started to make a little sense. And I started to make a little bit more money off that. But like, I don't know, man, there were a couple things that was just like, okay, you got to adjust all these sliders here because, you can export this, but it's way more expensive to actually keep importing this much coal. So, and I'm only making pennies off this to export it. It's like, all right, so fucking tone this down, tone that down. I was able to balance my budget a couple times. It gets out of whack really quickly. So it's not something you're going to sit there, and fucking tweak every 5 minutes, just to try and stay in the green. So, that being said, things in the game are cheap. So, like, roads are basically free.
They're basically free. It's weird. So there's shit that's either super expensive.
Any kind of transportation infrastructure is stupid expensive, man.
There's that, or if you're trying to place that specialized like garbage thing, it's like, this is $6 million.
Yeah, it's insanely expensive.
Are you crazy?
Yeah,
like, I can't pay for that.
Right.
Now that being said, the way this game handles loans is so much better than the last game.
I haven't taken out a single loan yet.
Okay, well, it's cool.
Okay.
Right? The more you borrow, the higher the interest rate. You pay it back when you want. It's a sliding scale, whatever you want to take out. It's like, that's cool. But yeah, there's things in this, like you said, roads are free. Power lines are free. The electrical system, I got to say, that actually works great.
That works great.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. I don't have any problem with the water either. In fact,
No,
I mean, you can get a water
is...
treatment plant so fast in this game
Yeah.
that you don't even have to have too much poo in your water before you can clean it up.
Or you can leave it.
Or you can leave it, which is fine. So, yeah, I started, I'm on my 5th or 6th city now.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I've done things where I'm like, well, I'd have to bulldoze everything to redo this. But, yeah, it's like, okay, well, let me start over and let me try this. Let me start over, let me try this. Let me, yeah, and of course, the roads with the pipes. That's of course
that's great,
fantastic. Again, there's weird things where it's like there's no quays.
You can make those with roads.
Yeah,
it's not the
that's
same.
not.
I know it's not the same.
It's not, especially when you had it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But no, I discovered that when I built I built my last game. I built a humongous harbor. So lined it all with concrete using roads. So
okay,
yeah.
Well that's cool.
Took me a few. I did it by accident on one. So I was like, well, maybe this needs to be next to the water, and that's not true. So, but
okay,
but I built the road, to kind of like try and straighten out my edge. And when I bulldozed it down, it turned into one of those keys. So
is that how that worked? And then you just build another road after you bulldozed it?
I just left the road there.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah. I wonder if that works with trails. Yeah, there's no bike trails in this game. So
yeah, that's the thing. Is there's stuff that's missing. There's
no sports stadiums. There's not like a concert hall or an art museum or anything.
Not that I've seen.
I mean, you get the big one that comes with the high school, so
which I think is cool.
It is cool.
The modular part on this, like, this is great. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff in here I like, but there's just a few things where either they're not explaining it well, or it's just like you guys need to adjust how the bars work. With certain things. I think that's my biggest problem is if you're trying to use that as any gauge of okay, I'd better do that. Because the other thing is, like you've seen here, is if you zone industrial and then de-zone it, it fucks up the land.
Oh, yeah.
It fucks it up badly. So if this is something where it's saying...
That's how I discovered there were aquifers.
Oh, yeah. And that one, when they're like, we're getting sick. I'm like, there's no shit in this. I've made this mistake before. It's like, oh, no.
No.
Okay. It's because we're putting all of these... used needles and shit, or whatever into the aquifer, whatever.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. That's another thing that's nice. The garbage system in this one's much better.
It's great.
Yeah. So you're not constantly like rotating out landfills.
Nope.
Which was dumb.
Nope.
So it was like I build another one next door and rotate it out. So yeah, that was silly. This one not an issue.
Custom landfill, I love that. That's so cool.
That's very SimCity 2, man. So yeah. What else? Yeah, there's like transportation. Like I haven't done too much with mass transit yet.
I have not either.
So I messed with buses a bit, and nobody wanted to use the fucking bus. So
okay.
Now in the last game, people were hardwired to either take the bus or the subway. So that is not the case in this game. So I haven't messed with it too much. I've done a lot of shit with outside connections. So yeah. So trains and ships, in particular, ships are way better than trains.
Are they?
Oh, they carry a shitload of stuff.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Yeah, the trains are kind of like. I mean, first of all, like you have to build all this infrastructure.
Trains are a pain in the ass.
They sure are, man. So and it yells at you if you try and make last time you could make 90-degree curves with your fucking trains. So
yeah,
it's literally like a Lionel playset,
Yeah, there was something wacky about it.
In this one, it's like no, that's too sharp, too sharp. I was like, what the fuck, man? Put some speed limits on it. So
well, and there's also weird things where like the cargo train terminal. It's not a pass-through.
No, it's not. It's a stub. Yeah, I mean, so I didn't notice that. I built all this like entire area prepping for this, and then realizing it's like, oh, wait a minute, now I can only shit out trains that direction. So I was like, you got to be kidding me! New city.
No, again, you can sell it to turn around at the hub.
At the hub, yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
true.
but when you do that, it's like, but it's also ugly, right?
It's way ugly.
It's
Yeah.
hideous.
Yeah.
So now I have to make this consideration of like, so all right, if I'm going to build hubs, then I have to, or like that stop and turn around. Okay, I got it, but I will have to keep that in mind for next time, right? And think about my placement here, especially when it comes to, all right, so if I'm going to be earth fucking over here, right? Then I will set this up so that it goes here,
Right.
stops,
Yeah.
right, and that kind of thing. Like, okay, got it.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're doing.
But the other thing is like, why would you change that? Why would you?
Yeah, I know.
What that seems like such a bizarre.
Yeah, that one threw me off a little bit. There was something else that threw me off there. The ships, you actually have to set up your shipping routes. And so I built the harbor the first time, and nothing's happening.
Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Same thing with trains.
I know, yeah. I was like, wait a minute, you're supposed to shit these out on your own, the freight trains? So I was like, no, Pat, you have to set those up. I was like, God damn, okay. So, because they get the little tool tips that come up, and it says, click the next one. And they're like tweets. It's just like, click, 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 click. Yeah. So, yeah. But I don't know, man. I haven't run into humongous traffic problems yet.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So, and that's kind of like they're taking kind of the real kind of like meat out of the game. Now you do have like car accidents now and shit,
Which is fun.
yeah, which is kind of fun. I don't know about you, but I have disasters on. So
No. Not now.
I've got it on because they're mostly harmless, but I did get half my town scorched by a forest fire. So yeah, which was pretty cool. So in the tornado, which is humongous. So yeah,
tornado. Yeah.
it's humongous. It would be like they'd be ripping up the ground, man. So but I was curious because one of the first maps that I played was like the River Delta one. I was like, well, I wonder if there's floods. So, and I didn't see any yet, even after it rained like a motherfucker. So
I've seen floods, but they're not. I mean, it's not like bad. Like you wouldn't write, a section in the Bible about it. It would just be.
It's in the appendix.
It's just more so like oh, I shouldn't have zoned those houses, right? It's just too close to the water. Yeah, so nothing like that. Just minor.
That's it. A lot of the maps suck. They're bad.
I don't love them.
Yeah. There's like one or two that are pretty good, but I've tried just about all of them now, and there are some. It is like there's not a flat piece of ground on this motherfucker.
There's some stinkers. Yeah. There are some or I'm just approaching this the wrong way, or if the whole thing is they want you to mess with the terrain tools more. I don't know. Yeah, it's a little bit unusual, and I mean, there are some things where, number one, like, performance is a problem. Like, and this is something I checked into because I had a couple of, like, crashes. I had a couple of hard crashes. I'm like, fuck.
I haven't had any of those.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things where, because, yeah, there's guys out there like me, running the 3090s, 4090s, and stuff like that, where it's like, this is immaterial of what you're running. Like, if you zoom out like this, it's going to chug and stuff like this.
Okay, I have had that.
Well, evidently everyone does.
When you zoom all the way out really quickly.
Evidently everyone does.
Okay.
And this is something where it doesn't matter what you're running, right? This is the game.
Okay.
So there's parts of it where it's like, okay, so the best workaround I have for now is go into the NVIDIA settings, hard cap it at this. Oh. And so it's not trying to calculate this. I'm like, okay, got it.
That's interesting. Maybe I'll do that.
It still does it, right?
I had a little bit of
crash.
So I had a little bit of problems when I first loaded it. So I was just running on medium settings, and I was like, okay, this looks fine. So it looks better than the old one. So I was like, cool. And I was like, let me crank him up and turn him on high. No difference in performance at all. So like nothing. Okay, but I would get like you'd side scroll, or edge scroll, and it would freeze for about maybe a second. Okay, every now and then. Or if you rotated the camera too fast, it would stop. It would take a second, and then it would pick up the rotation. And definitely when you zoom out, it would do that. And I turned off VSync, and that cured almost 90% of the problems. So it still will do it if I zoom out, and it'll still do it if I'm trying to edge scroll over like the busiest part of my fucking town, like as fast as I can. So, but on that, it's okay.
Well, I will say it got better after, like there was a patch the other day, so it did get better.
Ooh, I don't know if I downloaded that.
It should have done it. It should have done it when you
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they do have a Paradox account, so yeah, it does it automatically.
Yeah, it's kind of wacky. So I mean, there are certain things where it's like, all right, well, so these graphical details are awesome, but there's also parts where it's like, all right, so when there's a fire and you zoom in on it, like the fire truck will show up.
And it doesn't spray anything. I know, man. There's like, no dogs. So,
it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys...
There are a couple little things here and there that are kind of missing. So, like, same thing, the cop cars. You know, you watch them kind of cruise around. They just go around in circles. So, a little bit. And then, whereas before they would chase people and stuff. And so, little things like that it's kind of like, all right. That's fine. So, like, the container ships, they don't actually load and unload containers on them. So
no? Oh, okay.
Same thing with the cargo train terminal. The little crane doesn't move and shit. So it's just like some missing animations more so than anything else. But, I don't know, man. So I really do want to figure out the economy. I did. So I find that with my towns, I have trouble right when you start to unlock, like, parks and the transport tab and stuff. It's like the fourth or fifth milestone. I always start to hit. It's when office stuff becomes available. I just hit this part where my city just fucking dies. It just stops growing. So,
I don't know what you're talking about. Dude, I have a constant, like, it is a steady, like, nonsense. Green never goes away.
Yeah, okay.
I shit you not. It's like, we want you
to... I might try it your way. I'm curious now.
I wonder if part... Well, because I guess that's the thing is, like...
Did you just make a fuckload of farms as soon as you could? So...
that's what I actually use a lot of my... So I'll check the map, and I'll use a lot of my squares. Oh, again, the square system now, the tile system, genius.
Oh, that's way better.
Absolute genius. This
Except when you're blank water tiles to get out to the ocean.
Again, there are parts of things where it's like, why don't you just give me an outside connection? Why don't you just, or basically to the edge of your map. And then if you expand that, then you have to push that further. Yeah. Like, all right, but don't make me waste my first, like, 6 squares getting out to the, like, this sucks. Yeah. But, so, that was the whole thing.
You do get a lot of them, though.
You get a lot.
Yeah, they dish them out pretty thick.
Absolutely. So, Absolutely. And you know what? The shit gets big. I mean, this is the thing. I do like this, the other size of it, and I do like that because of what you're trying to prioritize, right? You do kind of like move the squares in different places so that it's not just like, oh, okay, well, I bought the tile above me. So I'm just going to extend this. I'm going to copy paste this city and just fill this area, right? You've done it.
Oh, I've totally done that
a million times, right?
I was doing that even a little bit in this one. It was like, all right, we got a new square and this one's pretty flat, so let me start drawing boxes on it.
Understand, right? Totally understand. But there's that component of, all right, if it makes you do odd things to get to different places, then you have to build differently.
Yeah, your city looks different.
Okay, cool. All right, so you solve problems a different way, and you have to think about, will I eventually unite these things?
Right. Okay. We'll unite the 7 kingdoms. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, this is cool. That's the thing. It's like all the components are there for it to be the system of what I like, but there is some severe polish missing, right?
Yeah, there's definitely some polish
where the
missing.
Foundation is there. Yeah. It's just like, tweak this, fix this, make this transparent. Just like your tips,
they suck.
Are worthless.
They're useless. Yeah, they're useless. You should zone more industrial. It's like, no, So it was like yeah. I mean, I even did a little bit of like quasi testing on that.
Did you?
Not like intentionally at first, but it was like, all right, so you want me to let me build this out until that goes away, kind of thing, and then let me like watch what happens to my current stuff, and it just gets cannibalized for fucking parts, so for employees. So, and I was like, well, that doesn't fucking work. So, and the same
It
thing
doesn't
true.
track, yeah.
Well, so the office one is almost directly tied to how educated your guys are. So, because, high school retards won't work in offices. So, you got to have at least a college. Otherwise, you're just doing it off people based on those who immigrate to your city. So, and that's why I said, like always, it's Skylines. Yes, we're gonna have a badass education system, and then it goes so slow. It's got like 10 fucking people in it. So,
Hey man, I managed to I managed to push a lot of people into college and
Did you?
university.
Okay.
Right. That's I mean my I said like my leading export is software.
Oh, okay. I never got that far. So.
Well, I built the technical university.
Oh, okay.
That's the branch I went down. I was like, all right, so this plus the fucking $1.5 million that's going to cost to, and yeah, I like that because there was there was something goofy about me being in a city that says, okay, so by your estimation, and I still think that this is like it's almost like a map key, where it's like this equals 100 yards, but that with people,
yeah.
because I'm like, so I have a 70,000 person town and 4 universities.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I do remember there were times like that in Skylines one where it's like we got an 80,000 person town and we've got 2 professional sports teams.
This is whack.
This is ridiculous.
I've got it's
and an international airport. I do like that you can actually unlock airports really quickly if you want. So
this again, it's another one of those things that like this is great. I actually like the little coin system.
It's very cool.
Whatever you want to focus on, or shit. There are some times where you spend for necessity.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I like this. I like it. This actually feels like this is where it feels like a new game.
Yeah.
Right. I'm actually really thankful right now. I didn't have the urge to basically like turn everything on and just fuck with it, because I'm like, no, this is. I find it more fun to
I did that just to see where resources were on the map before I'd start a game. So because I did when I started realizing, I was like, oh, resources are important. Oops. So, and I was like, oh, look I built my whole fucking city on oil.
That.
Oops.
Okay, yeah. I gotcha. Yeah. I mean, so there's stuff in this, like I said, I think the foundation of this is there. I think this is like, I think by the time when they're ready to put out their next expansion, I think this game will be in really good shape. But as of right now, like, I like it, and I'm not going to stop playing it because I mean, there's enough new stuff, but it's just like, fucking put out the fires, man. Fucking like,
yeah, there's definitely a few fires. I don't know.
I mean the actual fires.
Oh,
yeah,
like
yeah. Have actual firefighters. Like, I don't need you to render the individual like townies' teeth, right?
No.
Which is cool. That's fine. Don't get me wrong on that. There's so much.
Kind of funny. There's a lot of fat people in town.
There's so much like personality on this, but there's just stuff that's overlooked. I mean, just small things that, like really simple things, like just hitting the roundabout button. I'm like, okay,
that's so nice.
This is great. These things are so easy, and don't look goofy. And the so many ways you can snap to the roads without it fucking everything up, where you just don't do that, don't turn the street this way by me clicking.
There's no undo button, so that's bullshit. So
there's no undo button.
There's no undo button.
And why would you take away the right click to flip the road?
How do you flip roads?
You have to,
dude. Because I got so mad at it, I just drew it the other direction. So
that's what you have to do. You have to go to the replace, right? It doesn't cost you anything, but you replace and then just drag.
Oh, goddamn. Okay. I just bulldozed it.
Fuck that. No, that...
I was sitting there. I was like, "Wait a minute, this is going the wrong way, man." So
I thought my mouth was busted.
Yeah, me too. I was like, "What the fuck? What did I do wrong?"
I'm hitting the right button. I'm like, "Why isn't this flipping?"
It's like, what else would it be? Yeah. Okay, so you got to use the replace tool and drag. Got it. It took me a while to figure out how to rip out stoplights too, man. So
you can rip out stoplights.
Yeah, but that's just right click. So.
What?
Yeah, so if you go like the first advanced the road tools, the one with the fucking where you can add grass or trees to every single road and stuff.
Oh.
So there's a stoplight and there's a four-way stop in there. And so if you click on the stoplight button and then hover over a stoplight that exists and then right click, it'll disappear. And so you can actually remove stoplights, you can remove stop signs, you can remove crosswalks, which is great. So, because sometimes it's like, I mean, I've had some crosswalks where it's like coming off the bridge. These dudes like screaming down at 70 miles an hour. I was like, I should put a school across the street here. Just as a social experiment.
Yeah, at that point, you're just playing Roller Coaster Tycoon now. Yeah, you're trying to get as many fatalities as possible. Yeah, and I don't know. I guess
the radio stations. So
well, they're there, but
they suck. So they're not any of the good ones. So yeah, like, and there's no ads on them either. So that was like one of the funniest things about the last game was they had the goofiest fucking radio ads. So that it was just a nice touch, more so than anything else. And I see some of those companies in the game now. So It's like, where's your ad, bro? So, but anyway. I do like the fact that you can change the housing styles, too. That's really nice.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I like that you can actually flip between them. You can
use them both at the same time.
Yeah,
it's great.
You can choose. I'm like, this is cool. Yeah, that's what I don't know.
Buildings are a lot bigger, too. So
they feel to scale.
They do.
They really do feel to scale this time around.
Yeah, because it was always goofy last time. You're like, well, this is the biggest building, and then you had this landmark building that was supposed to be like the fucking Empire State Building, and it was humongous compared to the rest of your town, and so you never use shit like that in any of those expansions. So this one, it's like, okay, so it's back to the Sim City way, where the size of the tile, the size of the footprint of the city determines how big the building gets. That's awesome. Thank you.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That took me a while to figure out. That was something I did have to Google. Was the biggest building is 6x6?
Oh, is it?
Squares, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
All right. No, that's cool. Again, it's what I wasn't there for, okay, because I didn't know that City Skylines was out, before I bought it. It was there for a while.
The first one?
Right?
Yeah, me too.
So I have no idea how the original release was compared to, and I don't know if this is just part of the cycle where it's like, look, there's a lot of fucking math going on here. This is something that will improve over time. So what I don't know if that's just, par for the course. Right. And I do know that a lot of the things that eventually ended up, to their credit, man, this is something that they did was if they saw a mod that fixed the problems, they found a way to usually incorporate that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So I don't know if this is going to be kind of the same thing. And I'm, walking into, a place where, wow, you guys got some great ideas, but this is wrinkled as shit and someone needs to iron it for you.
Needs to be ironed, yeah.
And that's fine. Like I said, I'm still having fun with it. But yeah, there are parts where, what is your equation?
Yeah, so I haven't gotten a town large enough just quite yet to actually get into like heavy duty traffic problems or build an airport. I haven't built an airport yet.
I haven't either.
Yeah, or like completely tear out a neighborhood and put a highway through the middle of it. I haven't had to do that yet. Yeah, I haven't had to do that yet either because traffic's like really chill. So
no, I had to tear down Main Street. I had to. It's again that same like open up that on those maps where it's like, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put two highway lanes and we're gonna merge them into one, and that's what you're gonna build your town off of. Like, well, I would never do that.
No, yeah.
Like, I wouldn't do that, but now I'm committed to it because I can't build highways yet.
Oh, right, yeah.
You know, that just sort of some of those weird things where, like you said, the maps are whack.
The maps are pretty whack.
Now, again, I am going to turn around and say, like, the fucking weather cycles are so dope.
Oh, the weather cycles.
Love that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
But
so,
the night cycle is useless because you can't see a fucking thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of fun to look at every now and then, but...
Cool, but...
you could not build shit in that.
No! No! And if I recall the last game, like... if you left the night cycles on, at least it highlighted the thing you were working on, or the building.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
No, it's like complete darkness, man.
Oh,
it's like, that's
what?
right. Actually, all lights are designed to point down towards the road. So... I was like, are you sure you want to bulldoze your power plant? No, I don't. Yeah.
Like, look, this is fine. I'm like, it would be cool though. Like, this is okay if it were shorter, but
right.
I swear it's like fucking like every city you build is in like Alaska, and it's just it's like 2 solid weeks of darkness. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, and then some of the maps are in the southern hemisphere, and I noticed that.
Oh,
where it's kind of like it's like, wait a minute, it's like summer and it's January. It's
I didn't even think about that. Oh.
So, but then it was like, all right, well, fuck it, whatever, man. I'm already this far in the city. So, you know, but there's like a couple little details here and there in there like that. The snow is good. So,
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, the snow is really
cool looking.
Yeah. So now I built the biggest city that I built was on a map where it doesn't snow. So yeah, it gets all like autumny, but there's never any snow. So, but then I built on this mountain one where you're in like this canyon kind of thing. That's a cool map too. It's pretty flat and just small. So, and it's like, oh, it's October, boom, snow. So, and it stayed there till like fucking May.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So. That was a nice detail. Yeah, and that's right. It's just like all these traffic accidents. It's like, maybe I should buy that road maintenance department thing. It's like, oh, look at the snow plows. Cool.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, you need that. So there were a couple other things that were kind of like that. It was like, oh, you dumbass. So, yeah, and like the game doesn't stop you and say, hey, you really need this. You really need this. You know, like the last one, people would start bitching like crazy if you didn't build a dump right away because everybody's house would be filling up with garbage. This one, I've gone like years, okay, where suddenly I started realizing, it's like, why is my city fucking growing? So, and it's like, oh, you idiot. So you didn't build a firehouse, or, well, that one you get reminded of, but, you know, like the dump or... like death care, it takes a while for someone to pop up dead. So
it does, and you know what? That's actually something that's easy to solve.
Very easy to solve.
It's that's cool. It's not. But
like the internet. So I didn't even think about that. So I'm like, why won't my shit fucking up? None of my buildings will not get over level 3. What the fuck, man? It took me forever to figure that out because I didn't even think of what that was. It was like, what's these 3 little dots here, man? Is it messages? And it was like, I was like, you idiot. So, and then instantaneously plopped down an internet tower, and everybody's like, hey, here's more tax money, Pat. I was like, oh, god damn it.
Yeah, there's stuff like there's weird things where
like a post office,
and the mailboxes, and they go on the street and stuff like that. I'm like.
I was like, do I really need to set up every little mailbox? And it's like, yes, you do. It's like, okay.
See, and that's something I would delegate to a postal employee, like in a second.
Right,
like, where do you think these need to go? Just put them.
Yeah.
Just put them. It's fine. Yeah, same thing goes with those radio towers and then the server farms and all the other stuff. I'm like,
yeah.
All right. Okay. You know what? It
is kind of cool that's in there. So
absolutely,
it's something new. So
yeah,
it's kind of nice.
Absolutely, it is. It's something to take into consideration, and it's funny too because I know for me that's another funny thing is because I have shit just like I have like production going out into the mountains where they're drilling for oil and stuff like that, and I'm like, Well, yeah, you guys need cell phone antennas too.
Yeah,
right?
everybody needs cell phones.
It's like I remember how shitty it was working in some of those locations 5 miles from Frederick and having no reception and stuff like that. I'm like, sure.
Yeah, I might try that. I might try and see if I can replicate what you got going on because I've only been building like one or two of those industries. So
This shit grows like a fucking weed because I mean that's the thing. That's what I'm saying here is like, so if you have all those raw materials, right? That's the impetus for where it starts. Like, okay, so we need this industry, and what you're saying is right. I need to cut that in like a quarter. I actually like cut that down to like
just
a quarter.
the generic industry.
You know, and same thing, like the same thing. I'd better like cull some of the commercial stuff. Now, again, like something that I think is so cool, that commercial bottom, residence on top, that
those things are cool.
That New York style. I'm like, this is kind of dope. I'm like living above a Chipotle. You know,
I live above a Sparrow. Yeah, that came up once.
But yeah, that kind of stuff is like super cool. That mixed zoning thing. I'm like, this is so cool. But yeah, because if you have all that shit, right, then that's where all the industries are constantly saying, oh, well, we got wood, all right, so we're gonna make furniture and all this other stuff.
Right.
So they're constantly
yeah, it takes a little time to unlock some of those though, man. So
yeah.
It's
just wood first.
Well, you can do chickens and stones right off the bat. Yeah,
chickens and wood,
and stones. So.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure out. It was like, oh, you guys need rocks, actual rocks. You know, I was like, where do I get those? And there's like no rock thing. And so I was like,
well, it's
maybe I could just put it anywhere.
Yeah.
So, and that's true. You can put a rock farm anywhere. So,
oh, really?
Same thing with chickens. You don't have to put them on the yellow shit. So,
really?
No, you can put them anywhere. So,
oh.
So your game didn't tell you that, did it?
Of course not.
Yeah. So I only found that out.
Fertile land.
Yeah. So, but that's for the. There's a little where it says like wheat farm, and then underneath it, it'll say in yellow fertile land. The chicken farm does not say that. So you can put it anywhere. I know, man. It's like, yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to try and make a new city that's a little bit more rural. So see if that actually works.
See, that's what I'm wondering here is I feel like there is something where they're trying to walk you through the development of like how you said before, like there's some old socialist bullshit in this kind of nonsense, and you may be onto something. I feel like
it might be
wants you to walk through like, well, this is how people go from chicken farms to
software
to vertical algae farms within the building.
Ew.
And this is what you're going to eat. Yeah, the thesis of this game is
cricket farms.
Yeah. I haven't seen too much of that shit, although I will say it pained me to place my first welfare office.
Oh, yeah, me too. I was like, do I have to? Really? Do I have to? Can't I just put down more police stations? And the same thing with the city building. I was like, you know what? I think we're going to go with a government-less city.
You know, I got you there too. I do love that. I love that, the city hall and
the court. Yeah, it's
yeah.
cool.
I thought that this is all like cool stuff, and you can change things once you place those, and
yeah,
like this is cool. I don't know, like you guys are really.
Yeah, there's only a few policies you can fuck with before then. So
yeah.
I'll have to do that, and I'll have to poke around with the districting a little bit too. I haven't really fucked around with that much.
That makes sense. It really does, in the sense where it's like, all right, so you can put out general fires with these, but if you really want to specify and make things, as tight as possible, right? Because that is where, I mean, the the storytelling in this game, they have added some things. That really change this with just the invention of low rent housing.
I love low rent housing.
The storytelling of this game has radically shifted with just that. Where do you put the welfare?
Where do you put the welfare office? Yeah, exactly. The same thing with the low rent housing. So that had me laughing the first time I saw it. I was like, "Oh, we're just gonna call it out, aren't we?"
Well, and the fact that you could break it down, like the weirdest thing is when you go to the individual taxes for residential, right? It doesn't tax it by residential type; it taxes it by education level.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Which is so bizarre because you're like, I can really do supply side economics here.
Yeah, you really could. So yeah, I've been fucking with the taxes a little bit. I actually took down all my commercial and my industrial taxes.
Did you?
And then jacked up my residential taxes. So
Well, that's been your trick for.
I've done that trick a lot. It doesn't work as good. So, but it might need a bigger city in order to be able to do it. Yeah, because my thing was like, hey man, you got a great job, so yeah, you get 12% taxes in this town. So, and that's your residential tax. So, and then I was very pro-business. So, yeah. It was like, nah, we don't tax you guys. You just make sure that everybody's on E-Verify. Yeah.
If somebody here
is not documented, man,
I'm going to shut you the fuck down.
We are going to burn your buildings down. Yeah. There's a lot of things in there I haven't built yet, though. Like, I haven't built prison yet, so...
I haven't needed to. It says...
I haven't either, man. My crime's been so fucking low. So, I mean, like, the crime is terrible. I was like, where? So, I mean, I don't know where you guys are getting this from, but whatever.
It is. It's probably that same thing we talked about before. It is probably the same thing that the medical clinic is. Of course, yeah. It's like, well, you have 2 officers. You're stretched over the entire city.
Right, Roscoe and Enos. So they're both busy.
I was thinking a little bit more like Brian Dennehy and yeah. We just drive you straight through
Colonel Troutman. Yeah.
We drive you out of town. Yeah, it's like, Portland's that way. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll fuck with it.
I definitely plan to. I appreciate the powwow. I've got you've given me some new things to think of here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and do a more rural town. So.
Or at least, take a little bit more of that, because I know that's something where just the green by never stops. Never stops.
See, mine does, but my yellow one, my red, or my blue one almost never stop. But I'm doing that on purpose. So, yeah. But I haven't built as many of the extraction industries as you have.
Well,
the raw material. I think I'm gonna try that. See if you can flood the market with chickens. So
I'm gonna try for more chickens. Like, again, now that I know that it doesn't, because I was divvying it up between cotton fields, wheat, and chickens.
Oh, and veggies.
Yeah,
there's like 10 different ones, man. So
and they all make different things.
Yeah,
they do. And it's weird because when you flip it out and it all doesn't equal like a hill of beans if you're like importing like fucking, there's one there where it looks like fucking Hungry Man dinners, and I'm like, I import a lot of these. Yeah.
I've seen that, the food, yeah.
It's not just food. There's one that has like 3 trays in that shit brownie in the
yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah. I noticed that in there. Yeah. So I did notice in there though that like, not everything that you provide him is, like a lot of it actually is just provided by, the natural growth. Like there's a leisure tab in there. So did you notice that?
Yeah, I haven't.
So like that's one way to level up your buildings. But leisure is not just your like parks and shit.
Right.
If there's like bars and restaurants in an area, those count too.
Oh,
and so it's like,
okay.
that's fucking cool.
So you have to do that with the commercial.
Well, what it does is it teaches you to kind of spread your commercial around and not just concentrate it all in one area.
So basically, like putting lines of commercial.
You want like strip malls here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and the same thing's true with gas stations. There's a thing in there where it says, we don't have enough gas stations in this town. And it's like, well, I can't plop those. So, but you want to zone some light commercial. So
that actually makes perfect sense. Yeah, because when you think about it, like there is no Colorado Springs gas station. No, dude.
Right. City utilities gas
that'd be
stations.
fucked up.
Yeah. So they make you put E85 in your car. You know?
I have heard fucking dickheads argue on behalf of stuff like that.
What, E85?
No, on behalf of like government controlled like gas stations.
Oh, well, yeah, that's Twitter for you.
Stupid
so
assholes.
they probably have Palestinian flags up now too. So fucking Twitter, man.
Look, it's real news. With everything that comes and goes with it. Look, I got to tell you, like, so from back in the day, all right, one of the most hotly contested places in the world was Yahoo Answers.
Oh yeah,
the Yahoo Answers and the Yahoo comment sections were where some of the greatest minds of our generation went to shitpost, right? And it was very contentious there for a while, and that has changed. And you will get the most up to date news right there on Twitter if you're following the people.
You gotta follow the right people.
And you will see some of the dumbest comments of your life. You'll see some gems, but
God, there's some good jokes on there too, though, man. So,
it's a great place.
Yeah, no, I got hooked on this whole and I hate generation stuff, but there's this Gen X thread out there that's fucking hilarious. So
I don't know this.
It's nothing but shit posting in the most sarcastic way possible. So but it had me going the other night. So
Did it?
yeah, it was kind of a nice diversion from all the shit that's going on between a lot of people that I used to follow. So I had to cut some.
Sounds like you culled some.
I had to
people out
cut
of
some
your life,
people
man.
loose, Jeff. So they were just they're too far out there. So they cannot they're not going to walk it back. So
it's funny that you say that, yeah, because I'm sort of at a crossroads myself with some people here where
yeah.
The question, okay, so I know where I stand in for the most part with this Palestinian ordeal, right? And that's not to say that I have things fully, fanned out, but as of right now, my whole perspective is, well, whilst you guys are still holding hostages, I will continue to see you as the bad guys.
Right.
And frankly, any retaliatory things that happen to you, I'm not going to feel sorry for because you did this, right? You threw that match into the...
Yeah.
So if things continue past that or demands are unreasonable or whatever, we'll deal with that later, right? But there's a lot of people where guys that I used to follow are following... They're awfully pro-Palestinian on these things. I'm like, why?
Yeah,
Why?
that's exactly what I've run into.
What is your...
So what are you doing over there, man? So
what is it that you see about this that seems so noble or deserving of your support? Do you like these people or do you not like these people?
right, and that's really hard to determine on this one because the amount of anti-Semitism, and I'm thinking some of this is definitely overblown. Okay,
I would agree.
Yeah, some of that is definitely overblown. And there's definitely some people on the Israeli side of things who are, oh, this drum got bigger, we better beat it.
Yeah, well said. Yeah,
kind of thing. But there's there have been some people who I have a lot of respect for who have walked over to that side. And it's like, all right, justify yourself. And then it immediately goes into, 30 years of oppression, blah, 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 anti-colonialism, yada, yada. It's like, okay, you're using words that apply to here that I've heard you use in other arguments. And so I don't think you're really vested in this, bro. So you got a little bit of time to walk back over here to sanity land. So, but if you're not going to do it, then you're not going to do it, man. I guess we're just done here. So...
Well, thereupon lies the question is, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again right now. You tell me, who are the original native to France people?
Right, yeah, exactly. Celts.
I can't answer that.
It's the Celts, yeah, so, but whatever.
Well, and that's to say that I don't know if there's anybody that predates them.
I don't think anybody can, the Neanderthals, who knows? So let's give it back to them.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so who has Neanderthal ancestry? Turns out just about all of us do.
Yeah.
Why? because they were fucked out of existence.
Yeah.
They were mated with the, so.
Yeah. So France is mine.
But if I turn around and say, like, okay, well, so then France belongs to the Celts?
Well, yeah, exactly. Give it back to the Irish. Are they even the Celts anymore? So I don't know. Yeah, I don't. The colonialism thing doesn't make any sense to me. So unless you see it through the lens of like, so Israel is America's puppet state, and America is an empire that is bent on colonial rule of all non-white people. So, and it's kind of like, okay, okay, you showed all of your cards. Yeah, you showed all of your cards in one saying right there. So, I can see that you're holding two pair, and I've seen that before.
Yeah,
this has got nothing to do with Palestine.
That's right. Yeah, you always ask for one card. Yeah, that's it.
Right, exactly.
You're absolutely right. No, that's again, the holding for sins past and things like this. I'm like, guys, look, I know that you're saying this, and I know that you seem to think that somehow that if left completely alone, the African continent would have been the first to nuclear fission. If
Interdimensional travel.
Right. So I know that you seem to think this is the case, right? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I can sit there and show you the statistics of, well, this is Jamaica when it was run by the British, and here's when after.
Yeah. Take a look at this place. We call it Haiti. So,
yeah. Now that doesn't mean to say that interference, wasn't a problem. Okay, got it. But
it was definitely a problem. But yeah.
But at the same time, we flip around and say, all right, well, take a look at the United States. We were a colony. Like, we became the world's top GDP within about 60 years of throwing off that mantle, right? Like, it doesn't mean that because the British were here, right, that it ruined fucking everything.
Right, yeah.
And to then turn around and say, well, you Americans that are here now, well, you totally ruin the lives of the indigenous people. Like, well, okay, so then you want to talk to the British. You want to talk to the people that colonized the land, not the people that are here.
Yeah, no, I get all those arguments, but I mean, there's so many people who have just basically packed up that argument and ported it over here to Palestine.
Like it's true. Like
at the same point in time, it's like, look where you pitched your tent, bro. Those guys, yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but they make ISIS look a little tame. So,
exactly.
yeah. So, and then, they're Palestinian freedom fighters and stuff like that. I was like, you do realize that Hamas doesn't even think that Palestine exists. So, it should just like be, a state of God.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. It's just like ISIS in terms of that. I don't know, man. I think I've watched enough primers to, I don't know, probably pull as much information from this that I really care to be bothered with, I guess. But some of it is just pretty straightforward. On any time you walk away from it and then come back to it after a few minutes, it's like, actually, yeah, these videos are terrifying. These guys are horrible people.
Yeah.
So, and your leadership's not even in country. Wow, man, this is.
Who are you negotiating with?
Yeah, who are you negotiating with here?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a part of me that I see things and I'll sit there like, because it doesn't help that I'm constantly seeing the footage of the fucking jerk-offs in New York tearing down the missing posters.
Oh, have you seen them getting constructed or getting confronted by construction workers?
That shit's funny.
It's like GTA level funny, man.
Yeah,
don't fuck with those guys.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. No, it's so funny, but
that one is pretty funny.
But yeah, there's this part of me that I keep seeing these gatherings, in London and New York.
London ones are weird, man.
And it's I see it, and there's just something in my gut that just says Deus Vult. It's like we need to.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so
let's load up all the mercenaries. I'm gonna go take the Holy Land.
Do it because I always had that CK2 theory of in order to stop 9/11, I have to stamp out Islam in its infancy. Yeah, it's wacky, and it is weird to see. It's weird to see Palestinians holding swastikas. I mean,
That is so.
I was like, either this is,
And then they
this is
call
like,
the Jews the Nazis. It's like it's like how fucking. Oh my god, the amount of ignorance you see on the part of some of these protesters is hilarious too, man. It's like you didn't do any homework, did you? I mean, like before you even got to here, you did not do, like your 12th grade, social studies project on Palestine,
you did not.
did you? You
No.
did not.
No.
So, in fact, in fact, I'm pretty sure that you probably finished your school online.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree.
So, and it's just, it is crazy because who was it? There was someone who was interviewing a whole bunch of dudes in the big London one this weekend. Where actually I saw today that the cops were actually fighting with people over the cenotaph, so that's a good thing.
They were,
Yeah. So, but anyway, maybe because who is it? Douglas Murray's been going after the police all weekend. So, God, he's got some good singers, even though he's a little over his skis right now too. But you can talk about a guy who rolls with zero fucks given. But anyway, so he's just interviewing these guys, and they're like, okay, so from the river to the sea, and they're like, can you tell me what river that is? And they're all like, it's in Arabia.
all of it.
So, can you tell me what the sea is? The Arabian Sea. It's like, okay, so got it. All right. It's a very simple question. It's like, okay, so not only do you not know what you're talking, you haven't even read even a lick of the Bible. So, I mean, that river's in every fucking chapter, pretty much.
Yeah.
So you should know this. So, but anyway.
And all the books.
And all the books.
Whether it's mine or yours or theirs. It's talk about it all the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's, and I understand that some of that, of course, is always cherry picked. It's the same thing that they used to do with, like, Letterman used to send his guy out there on the street and say, like, so how many fingers is on the average human hand? And they'd have some absolute fuckwit sitting there saying, like, well, I had 3 blown off by an M80, so 5 minus 3 is 2. Or whatever, right? Because most people are going to say 5.
Right. Yeah.
5. But yeah, they're going to pick some dumbass where it's like, what countries are on North America?
Right, yeah.
And they're going to say, like, Germany, or whatever. It's bizarre things. So I know that's part of it. But yeah, there's a lot of like, why aren't any of you working?
Well, yeah, it's that. It's also like there are a lot of people, I mean, it's like the guy's way out on the fringes of things.
Yeah.
This is just the train of the week, man. It's just you guys got on a really bad one this week. And it's tearing your community apart. It's making all of you weaker. So when I see people on Twitter like basically lambasting Bernie Sanders today for his interview on CNN supporting Israel the other day, it's like that guy was your hero. So you guys got nothing now. You got nobody. So
the term Bernie bro existed for a reason.
It did, and it's done now. And so, and then it's the same thing. It's like you scared out all the people wearing suits and ties. So from your little Black Panther party here.
You're correct. No, and exactly. You scared out the suits and ties. And you said fucking from Pennsylvania, fucking sloth from the Goonies over there with his.
Oh my God! Yeah, I've seen people confronting him. He's like, "Fuck off, man!" This one guy who was like yelling at him about something. Is like, "I voted for you, man." He's like, "Thanks for your vote, but I don't have to agree with you." So it's like, okay, maybe he's not as retarded as he looks.
No, but I mean that's.
It's so mean, dude.
Dude, come on. All right, no, sorry. Like, you
Senator Sloth, huh?
Yeah, Senator. Hey, you guys. Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, there's a.
Oh man.
So yeah, it's like dress for the job you want. Well, the job that you want is to rob a 7-Eleven. I mean, that's the. You know, and where they specifically adjusted the dress code and said like, well, okay, actually, you don't have to wear formal wear anymore. You know, so this guy can.
I thought they went back on that though.
I don't know if they did. That was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
like,
I think they did go back on that.
Fucking
so.
like, would you people show just the slightest modicum of?
But he's been punching back at all the Palestinian guys the last couple days.
Has he?
He's fucking great. So he is obviously not going to run for a seat again. So,
all right.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, he decided like, you know, I mean, there's been a couple things. He posted this picture the other day, where it was like guys putting Palestinian flags on something like that, and he posted like a picture of an American flag and then a picture of every single one of the American hostages right now. And he's like, this is the only thing that should be posted right now. So, and everybody, oh my God, you know, it's like, you were my guy. And he's like, I've always been this guy. So, you know,
like, regardless of where you stand, we can fight about this once they come home.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he said. Yep.
Yeah.
He said, this is our priority right now. So, oh my God, his entire, I mean, you talk about a guy who turned around and gave the middle finger to about 50% of the people who wanted him to be the next working class hero. And he was like, actually, I am kind of working class, so fuck off.
Bro, yeah, look, there's part of me, it's like, all right, I got it. You know, there's other parts where it's just, it's a mess. The politics right now is such an embarrassing shit show. The fights they've been having about, you know, the presidential, like, gag orders and stuff, like, how can you be doing this?
What gag orders?
That they placed on Trump.
Oh, the judges? Oh,
yeah. The back and forth they've been having on this where, like, guys.
That's the trial that's going on in New York right now, right?
George.
I think he's in New York, right? Isn't that the one where it's all about, like, whether or not...
No, it's in D.C.
No, there's one in New York right now. I'm positive because it's the one.
Oh,
where,
it's the Attorney General.
Yeah, the AG, but it's really what a Deutsche Bank that's behind that. So because they took a bath on that shit. So yeah, I know he's not even in the news, man. So
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
the fact that it's all they have to cling to right now because I mean they released the data right now and. Trump's got like a 5-point lead.
Oh, he's going to crush
5 out of 6.
Yeah, he's going to crush him. So I still don't think Joe's going to make it that far, man. So you know, I really don't. He's getting worse every single day.
Well, I don't know. There's an argument like I don't know. He could fall down the stairs or be pushed down the stairs. It would still look like an accident.
Oh yeah, and then we'll have Gavin Newsom running.
I know he wants to.
Let him. You'll lose badly. Very badly.
This is it's the crux of it's that Hollywood thing of if you're surrounded by people who are only going to advance by telling you that you're doing awesome, as soon as you step out of your office, you still think you're awesome despite like well, all those people giving middle fingers, they're just haters.
They're just haters.
They're just haters. They wish they had what I had.
I don't think I've met anybody who actually wants him to be president. I've seen people on TV say things like that. But I don't know those people, Jeff.
And you never will.
Right, exactly.
You'll never... Well, there's nobody outside of a particular part of California that would say, that's my guy. I hope he runs.
I don't know, man. RFK Jr. has been posting really good numbers lately. I think he's going to fracture that shit. So, a little bit. He could Ross Perot it. So...
The problem is he's poking at two different party bases of like, well, I'm with you on
Trump,
this.
30% will show up for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because these are people that deliberately see, like, there's no future unless I vote for this guy.
Yeah.
Because they're seeing shit eroded. Now, I'm not necessarily taking their point. I will say that
it's definitely a mentality, though. So
there are certain things that have come to light and certain things that, you know, all started, as far as I'm concerned, with the Twitter files about the sheer amount of tampering that our government has no fucking business doing.
Yeah. See, Taibbi won a big award about that last week.
He did. And good for him. Good.
Well, him and Barry Weiss and Schellenberger. So, who's kind of an asshole. So, he really is. He's not a very nice man on Twitter. And he won't let you read all his shit unless you subscribe to him. So,
yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not going to pay him any money.
Well, don't.
I already bought 2 of his books, so.
Well,
we're good.
2 more than I bought.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. No, it's wacky. And again, I do like, I do like being in the sphere where you see all of this crap going on.
Mm-hmm.
And at least I have the I can see it and I can ignore it. It's up to me to get incensed by it.
Right, yeah.
I can just sit there and watch people. I can look at the biggest thing right now is I look at people that are supposed to be the leadership of their respective groups, right? They don't lead anything. They just say certain things, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is how I know AOC is useless.
She's useless.
Right? All she does is just chime in with a extreme leftist thing that, like, all right, well, how do you do this?
No, man, that's where she gets her bread buttered. She knows that.
Right?
I think most people are wise to her now, so...
No, I know that she's well aware that she has a ring of protective simps that are there just to, like...
Yeah. No, she's not going anywhere. Well, I mean, I would make the same argument about Matt Gaetz, too. He got sidelined hard last week. So,
yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. You talk about persona non grata now.
Yeah.
And they took that power away from him, too. I saw that. I was curious about that, whether or not they could oust Mike Johnson with a single vote like they did last time. He's like, we're not doing that shit no more. So...
No, it's kind of like this was... It was such a pain in the ass for them to actually get that through.
Sure was.
Like, for me, I was like, you guys should have this wrapped up by the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then they didn't.
Nope.
And then it went on 3 weeks. Yeah. And then they pulled this dude up that I'd seen once before. I don't remember what he was famous for, but I remember that I'd seen him like go to town on some dude in the FBI or whatever. Like, okay, this is where I've seen you.
Yeah, he did.
But aside from that, you just found this like goofy looking, like Stephen Colbert looking white guy out of nowhere who was pulled from like the Republican clone vat.
Assembled from spare Republican parts.
Yeah. It's like, what spare names do we have? We've got a Mike and we've got a Johnson. It's like, all right, well.
Oh, that guy.
Yes. Go ahead and...
he seems okay, man.
Yeah.
He seems okay.
He seems okay. But yeah, they just installed the BIOS and...
Let him cook overnight. So that'll shut down in 30 minutes if it's not working out.
Yeah. So he's fresh. He's ready to go. It's not like the fucking idiots where it's like, damn MTG, like you're a full defrag away from actually being.
Dude,
like,
if you defragged her, she'd come apart. So you would not get that to reboot.
Oh, you just put it in the trash.
Right, exactly, yeah.
You'd like hide it in some newspapers so you could throw it in the regular trash.
Yeah, you're too embarrassed to take this down to Radio Shack and trade it in. No.
Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's like waste oil. You just tip it over in
a little bit in the toilet. Yeah, exactly. So tip it over in the woods.
Yeah, because some of those people are going to get flushed. You're right. Like, Pueblo's finest is...
oh, my God.
Has got to go.
She's actually in a lot of trouble. So
what's she do now?
Well, no, I mean just like electorally.
Oh, right.
So because I think I don't know if it's the Republican Party in her district or if it's the state party. They're putting up a challenger.
Oh, they're gonna primary her.
They're gonna primary her. So with a tie-wearing Republican. So.
This is what you should do.
Well, that guy's going to beat an Aspen loafer-wearing Democrat in that district. So, but maybe. I don't know. I hear that guy's actually pretty popular, too. Loafer-wearing Democrat. There you go.
That's so derisive.
I think it's pretty descriptive, man. So, but yeah. So she's going to be gone. I don't think she cares though, man. She's gonna be on Fox News within a week, or OAN or some bullshit. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, or yeah, basically running like running as basically like being second banana to somebody else's show.
She'll be on TV somewhere.
Yeah,
yeah. So Hannity's getting close to retiring. Maybe she'll take his show. Who knows?
I want her in that spot.
Dude, nobody watches Fox News anymore anyway, man. So, like...
No, those guys...
Everybody's left. And I mean, like, that's the other thing, man. Is he, like, Tucker Carlson was supposed to be huge. His numbers are way down, too. So, that's what happens when you fracture media. You just go wherever you want to get your shit. So, no. So...
Don't get me wrong, he still pulls ass, but it's on a different...
It's a completely different platform. Yeah. It's a different constituency.
Different
I mean,
crowd,
yeah, nobody on nobody on Twitter is over the age of, like, 70. So good luck finding someone that old on Twitter. So, and nobody's younger than 35. You know. So.
No, it's I mean, there are. Don't get me wrong. There's still like a young crowd, but the young crowd is wasting their time and life on TikTok. That's
well, they're on that, or they're on Insta or Snapchat. So, like, I actually polled my students about this the other day. So I was like, how many... Okay, I'm curious. Who's using what social media platforms right now? There's actually quite a few who don't. Okay, so which is a new trend. All right, I haven't seen that reported anywhere. I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic. So, but yeah, it was like, how many of you use Twitter? And they're like, no, that's what my dad uses. So, and it was like, okay. Yeah. It's like, how about Facebook? It's like, no, that's what my grandma uses. I got it. Okay.
It's been that long to, yeah.
Right, exactly. He's like, yeah, no, I see, it's like, my dad's on Twitter all day and he's an ass for it. And I was like, all right. And a couple other students were like, yeah. So I was like, all right, so you guys don't use that one. They're like, no. I was like, all right, so Snapchat. And about half of them. They're like, yeah. So Instagram, half of them, but they don't post. Okay? A few of them post from time to time. So it's just an easy way for me to make sure, get in touch with a whole bunch of friends at the same time if we're going to get together. I was like, okay.
Okay, well, okay, yeah. So that's not Insta, that's Finsta.
Finsta, yeah, it's Finsta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
which is exactly what they don't want you to use it for. They want you to engage at large.
No. Yep.
Instead of like actually doing the thing like it was advertised for. It's like stay in touch with your friends and family. Okay, I will.
Yeah, I will.
These six people.
Yep.
Right, and they're like, but you're not. You're
not increasing our advertising base.
Why won't you get involved? Why won't you get mad at things?
Get mad at things. So drive the algorithm.
Right.
So,
well, anger is reserved for. Okay, yeah. So anger is reserved for Twitter and Reddit.
And Reddit and Discord. So, well, Discord's behind closed doors.
Discord is yeah.
Yeah, Reddit.
Reddit, they will just ban your ass into, you're either off or you're in the same mad chamber, and nothing productive will happen.
Yeah, no. Yeah, nothing productive.
Well, because you're going to have the same opinions, you're going to have the same arguments, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even really an argument, it's just a question of like, well, I'm the most socialist. I was down since day one.
Right.
Like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's like, a lot of fucking people on workman's comp.
At the welfare office.
Dude, there's a when I look at Reddit, there's a lot of workman's comp. There's a lot
of Social Security fraud.
A lot of FMLA abuse. A lot of
like, I see a lot of people trying to get out of work. Yep.
That is what that crowd is. It is the dregs of people who feel like life has treated them unfairly, despite the fact that, number one, you live here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And if you were born in America, you have a leg up on everyone.
Everybody. You are already the number 1 or 2 rung on that ladder.
Yes. The worst of us is squarely head and shoulders above, I don't know, Australia.
Yeah, it depends on the Australian.
Give me another country.
Ask, yeah. So, China.
Sure. Ukraine.
Oh God, Ukraine. There is a great rumor going around that Mr. Putin is dead. So again,
Does this have any meat to it? Or is
I
it
don't
just...
know. So it's been going around for about a week and a half, and nobody's seen his ass. So, and I actually did see. So there is a guy who's kind of a Putin watcher who showed up on one of the morning shows that I watched the other day.
Like in the crosshairs of his scope?
No, but he tries to keep track tabs on him. So, kind of like, where is he? When's the last time, he was in public, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, yeah, it's been a while since anybody's seen him. So, and this rumor started up about a week and a half ago, and they've yet to address it. So, and usually they're very quick to do so. And so, we'll just wait and see. It might be nothing, it might be something in a week where we find out something interesting that's happened in Ukraine. So,
well, the latest rumor right now is that they're actually about to go to the negotiating table.
They might be ready to do that.
Yeah.
So,
and the big rumor right now is that the concessions that they're looking to make are essentially what they would have made before any of this happened.
What, the Russians?
Yeah.
Like what?
So basically, it would be about Crimea.
Yeah, they'll keep Crimea.
They will, but there's a piece about that where they're going to give Ukraine some kind of access, like some kind of special access, something that's special to them. Couple of things about the disputed territories, and again, they were concessional by nature. And
I mean, nobody lives there anymore, so
you want it?
You want it? You wrecked it. You bought it. You buy it. You break it. You buy it.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, so whichever wants to like plow all this shit out and build your version of McDonald's, go ahead. All right.
Build a better McDonald's.
Blackjack and
McTasty.
Yeah.
Or, whatever it is.
Whatever it was so weird. It was
Tasty, period.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So if you want to build your bullshit McDonald's on it, go ahead. But yeah, the concessions were basically the same that they would have been.
So what about entry into the EU or NATO? That's going to be Russia's hang-up.
I think that was supposed to be a no.
They can't?
Not a can't, but there was like a special stipulation on it, but I can't remember.
I can't see Ukraine agreeing to any deal where Russia would actually get to keep those territories and force that concession.
Yeah, so, there was some special piece on that, but I can't.
Unless Putin's changed his mind. So, unless he's not dead. So, I mean, if he's not dead. So.
Well, maybe this is something where he speaks with an AI voice, from behind a closed door.
Right, exactly. It's an AI-generated Putin.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, there was something within that, but I can't remember exactly what it was. I'll look up the. You should do that too, but
I will. So I keep pretty close tabs on that, and I hadn't heard that just quite yet, but I have heard that so. Nobody's going to be able to push anybody else from where they are right now.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. So the Ukrainians are well dug in. They're well armed right now. They've learned the miracle of landmines. So have the Russians. And there's basically a section of Ukraine that is no man's land for the next 100 years. So and this is some really good farmland that's just littered with millions of mines. So
that's what you get.
Yeah, exactly. I guess when you fucking invade. So, and so what the Russians, they're actually really low on war stocks. So you see a lot of people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about when they say, oh, the Russian army is 6 times the size. It ain't. Okay. The Ukrainian army is the biggest land army in Europe right now. So it is very well armed, particularly with American-made anti-aircraft defenses. So,
yeah.
And so we did give them the ATACMS missile, which is that thing that you can launch out of the HIMARS that goes 700 kilometers, and they immediately used it to blow up several helicopter depots. So basically wiping out Russia's ability to actually attack. So using attack helicopters, which you can't use anymore anyway because they die so fast. So it's down to guys and drones and artillery. And both sides have about the same amount, which means nobody's going to be able to push the other guy out of there. So if you hear anybody out there saying, "Oh, the Russian army is 3 times or 7 times the size," that's seeded information that came out of Telegram. It's bullshit. So watch out for that.
At some point, if you looked at this on some form of like paper, you could say like, all right, well, if you interpret this, and this, or you say like by dollars or whatever, it's like you could make that argument. But that doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. Nobody's going nowhere.
The same thing, like you could sit there and say, well, yeah, they have so much more armor, but it's in armor. It's like, well, what we've learned here in this is that... Oh, boy.
The Marine Corps was ahead of the curve when they got rid of their tanks 2 years ago.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's like, so if you want a whole bunch of shit that's going to actually roadblock your advance... Mm-hmm. Because they're going to stop it with something that costs, a fraction of what it takes to wheel that death machine around. Yeah.
I mean, you can take out tanks. There's man-fire, there's man-pad missiles now that, are basically shoulder mount, like, launchable fire and forget, like the Javelin missiles. I mean, so one of those costs like $150,000, and they easily take out a $3 million tank. This is what I'm telling you about the Russians. Is there's guys out there, and I watch some of these guys who, they'll buy commercial satellite footage, and they'll look at Russian tank depots, and they've stripped them. So they've gotten all the way down to tanks that were built in the 1950s. So they don't have shit left. So they've used it all. So
and if you looked at it on paper, you'd be like, oh wow, you guys are way outnumbered on this.
Right. They're not. And I've heard that argument from some people. It's like, oh yeah, the Russian army dwarfs it. I was like, if they dwarfed it, they'd be in Kiev right now.
That's exactly
so. Yeah.
No, we're really holding on to that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. No, we want this to go on forever. Yeah. But no, I mean that's the point. And so this other guy that I watch, god dang, he's been sharp on this shit. So, he's this old fucker. So it's just I mean, he'll make a call, and then like 2 weeks later, you'll see it in the news, and you're like, God damn, good job, dude. So, but he's been right on. He's like, Kiev is just as far from Moscow as Moscow is from Kiev. It's like, nobody's going anywhere. So
this is not a new fight.
No.
They've had this fight before.
Mm-hmm. He's like, they're not going anywhere. And if we stop sending them money, that's fine. The Germans are sending them plenty, in their stead. So, because Germany's a lot closer to Russia than New York is.
There's water. Yeah,
there's water.
There's water.
There's water.
That's been a historic problem.
Yeah.
It's still gonna be.
Yeah.
It's kind of wacky, and the fact that Ukraine has disappeared from the news. Right.
Well, yeah.
Just evaporated into the air.
Oh yeah, and all the Ukrainian flags came down and were instantaneously replaced. Well, on half
Palestinian,
of them. Well, by the ones that weren't Jews.
But bro, the Jews. That's the thing, Patrick. The Jews have had to go into hiding, which is something I hate saying.
I hate saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're on the side of people that like you can't be in Hollywood now, right? And say like, well, fuck these guys. It's like, I have relatives there. I was just there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You can't go out there and say, like, fuck these Palestinians.
Oh, that doesn't mean you have to fucking put any of these people in your fucking movies. So,
no, what that means is, like, instead of being where you normally are, you just went silent.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is not par for the course of what that goes into. Because they're like, I don't want to start that fight.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think, I mean, there's a bunch of like Weinsteins and dude, and not specifically him, but
right, I know
of the name,
yeah.
Where it's like, I don't want to get these people mad at me,
right?
Yeah, and you know what? For good reason. There's been a few people out there. That have said, "No, this is bullshit. No,
sure.
Screw these guys."
Yeah,
right. And they've been catching shit for it. And it's like, you should not be catching shit for this.
No, you should not be catching shit for this. Yeah, and so, people are going to fling shit at people who are actually standing up for that. They're just going to be out there on their own, man. I mean, you're talking about AOC earlier, and who's your buddy Talib and stuff like that.
Dumbass.
None of
fucking moron.
You cannot find people who are further away from where the president is right now. So, and that's all in the same fucking party, for crying out loud. I mean, this thing just basically, it's going to neuter the entire left for, at least another election cycle. So, and so all they can do is get mad and scream on Twitter. So fucking let them. They're going to look bad in the long run.
You guys have had it coming.
Absolutely, they've had
You've
it coming.
had it coming.
Yeah,
you have to
totally had it coming.
You have to be careful about who you court into your party.
You got to police your own side. So,
correct.
Yeah,
correct.
You let the weirdos in; they chase all the girls away.
Correct.
Your party is ruined.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
You got to remember when the bros say like, "Yo, man, there's no chicks here. This is a sausage fest. Fuck this."
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, that's. When you look at the data and you see like the young people, like the high school people, and it's skewing and it says boys go this way, girls go this way, right? That's happening for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's gonna
actually the youngest. I mean, I don't know, man. I keep using my students as a dipstick. I have not had a year in which my students are more like I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about politics. So last year it was like, I don't want to talk about race. I don't want to talk about George Floyd. I don't want to talk about DEI. Yeah. I don't want to talk about any of those things. I don't want to hear equity theory mentioned in this class. So in this year, it's like, I just don't want to hear any of it. They're like, I want a job.
If you say the word intersectionality, I will walk the fuck out of here.
Oh yeah. Nope, none of my students do pronouns anymore. So that's gone. So...
Well, it's funny because, all right.
I mean, if I went to that campus downtown, so I'm sure everybody's got their pronouns. They're probably tattooed on them. So, but...
They probably would. And
yeah, but in like normal college America, no. So people are so fucking over it. So.
Well, this is the last thing. We can close on this here because we can save this rant for another day. But there's this... I don't want to say it's anti-intellectual, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's bullshit. That's not... You can say it, but when people are saying that you don't need college right now, that it's not anti-intellectualism, and I'm not arguing against college. I'm a college grad. So are you. You went to all levels of it.
I went, yeah.
You did it all, right?
You got the forklift cert.
Yeah. Like, I have exactly. It's like, I have a doctorate, but it's in, like, mustard. And that's something I bought online, right? That's...
I thought you were a Scottish lord, too.
I didn't buy that.
Okay.
I was tempted. I really was. But nobody. I'm not making new business cards. But yeah, that was the thing. Is they're not arguing against like. They have this vision where they say like, well, college is a nest of a communist, the thought and all this stuff. Like we're back in the fucking 50s again.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, some of them are.
Some of them are.
Like, yeah. If you go to Harvard, yes, you're going to deal with some of the biggest fucking idiots that you'll see because they actually believe this shit.
Apparently Brown is like the king daddy of schools right now. Or this, anyway.
But yeah, and you can name I can throw them out there. It's like if you go to CC, like you said, you go downtown. If you go to Berkeley, there's a number of places where that you're going to come across it. That's why you go there.
Evergreen, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just...
But man, Brett Weinstein, I got chased out of there. What the fuck were you doing there, buddy?
Yeah, the rest of the colleges are just, well, what are you here to get? Right. Oh, okay, so you're literally asking these losers, like, okay, so what's my best tack toward... starting my business or whatever.
Yeah, becoming a CPA. Yeah.
Fine. These people won't, they won't, and that's like 80% of this stuff. And if you're there to get that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the rest of the people that are there for some kind of philosophical, political wankery, you know where you're going because that's what you're there to get.
Hey, to be blunt, my school's got a little bit of that, but it points in a completely different direction, man. So it's all about like, I mean... the Southwest and Hispanic,
Absolutely, yeah, sure,
like
sure.
things like that.
Mestizo studies,
Right. Well, not even that, but just like rural stuff. It's almost like an ag school in some respects in that,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
very like centered towards gravitationally and culturally towards Mexico, or the American Southwest.
Sure.
Okay, fine. All right. So I will tell you, I will take a picture of it and I will bring it here and I will show it to you if I see a Palestinian flag on my canvas. It's not going to happen.
No, no, no.
I'd be shocked. So,
Yeah. And that's the thing is if that's what you're there for, cool, you got it.
Yeah,
but
you got it.
you don't need to rally against college for that because,
Right.
frankly, those things need to exist on some college campuses.
Sure.
Right? It's tard wrangling. You have to get the.
You got to get them all in the right spot, man. You got to push them up against the draw.
You don't force them. You
Right.
incentivize.
You incentivize them
Right.
up Box Canyon.
Because otherwise, that's internment, and we don't do that anymore.
We don't do that here.
I'm not going to intern you to Harvard. I'm not going to intern you to CC or anything like that. No, no. You should want to go there, and that's cool. And if you learn what you want, great.
Have at it.
Right? That's cool. That's totally cool. But yeah, this whole thing was it's anti-intellectual. It's like, guys, that's not
what's going on.
And you and I have also talked about like just. I guess in hindsight, it's like learn a trade.
Yeah, go wrench on something.
So, yeah. All right, so yeah, we're this
over.
is the Skylines episode anyway. It was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, don't build the welfare office.
Yeah,
so it leads to bad things. I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.